Thunderstorms across South Texas this morning, some with hail and wind. Who else could be dealing with more storms by this afternoon? Let's talk about it in this Friday morning edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning, it's Friday, the 17th of May, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Bully-in-Chief David Reimer. It has been a very unpleasant last 18 hours across several regions of Texas. We've had destructive storms bring damaging hail and wind parts of West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Concho Valley. We had flooding in Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, into East Texas, the Piney Woods. And then we had just bad things happen from near Brenham all the way down 290 into the Houston Metro, down to the Golden Triangle on the Gulf Coast. At least 4 people in the city of Houston are dead. We had widespread winds of 100 plus miles an hour. Based on videographic evidence, we probably did have a few tornadoes in there as well, but like I said during our live coverage last night, it was going to be the wind that was going to be the problem here. Yeah, embedded tornadoes, but in this case, really not a whole lot of difference between the, embedded tornadoes and the more widespread damaging to downright extreme straight line winds. Very reminiscent of what Hurricane Ike did in 2008 in downtown Houston. We had windows blown out of high-rise buildings, raining debris down on downtown streets. It's still closed off this morning because of all the debris. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people are without power. And it took down transmission towers, the metal transmission towers. So some folks are going to probably be without power for days. It's not an easy or quick feat to rebuild that infrastructure. But crews, they're doing the best they can. Let's just talk about what we're expecting today. Again, we've got storms ongoing this morning, parts of the Rio Grande Plains, South Texas. Those are going to continue into the late morning hours, strongest of which may produce large hail, localized damaging winds, heavy rainfall. There is the possibility of scattered showers, maybe a few storms along the entire Texas Gulf Coast today. That does include southeast Texas and the city of Houston. We do not expect a repeat of yesterday's extreme severe weather situation. At most, some of these storms in southeast Texas could produce small hail, gusty winds up to 50 miles an hour, cloud-to-ground lightning, and moderate rainfall. All this will clear out by this evening, leaving sunny skies across the entire state of Texas on Saturday, and for all intent and purposes, Sunday, it looks like as well. Maybe a thunderstorm in the eastern Texas panhandle east of the dry line late Sunday afternoon. Today, we can't completely rule out a strong or severe storm in the Permian Basin, the Concho Valley. If convective temperatures are reached and we can get a storm firing off the dry line, but isolated coverage, they would move east for a few hours with hail, localized damaging winds before weakening late this evening. Again, all things considered, after today's precip chances, tomorrow, quiet. Sunday, either 95% quiet or completely quiet. Monday is looking quiet as well, though we will have to watch the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma border for a couple of thunderstorm chances. At this point, it would likely be in Oklahoma and north of the Red River in northwest Texas. The big issue, to be completely blunt, is going to be temperatures. It's going to get hot this weekend across the state, and in areas that may not have power back for several days, we are definitely going to have to start worrying about heat-related issues. Forecast rain totals this morning through 7 a.m. Wednesday, that is the 22nd of May. You can see at this point, most of the rain you see across South Texas, the coastal bend up into the coastal plain, southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle along the Texas Gulf Coast, that is today. The potential for 1/4 to perhaps locally 1 inch of rain, specifically in South Texas, this morning and this afternoon. The remainder of the coast, looking at maybe 1/10 to 1/4 inch of rain. Locally higher amounts are possible where we get a quick downpour. Otherwise, Tuesday night, Texoma, northeast Texas, the Arklatex, maybe a few stronger storms as a cool front moves south of the Red River, sparking off scattered thunderstorm chances. Otherwise, we are not looking at widespread or significant rainfall in the state of Texas over the next 5 days. That means today, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, into at least Wednesday morning. Now, Wednesday morning onward, we may switch back into a more favorable pattern for scattered thunderstorm chances, but at this point, way too far off in weather model voodoo land to get a depiction or greater accurate picture of what may transpire the second half of next week. But we have at least several days of calm weather expected once we get past this morning and this afternoon. As we switch over to a completely different issue, fire weather. As we warm up over the next several days, especially the western portions of Texas, which remain dry, the fire danger will return to the very high to extreme category. The panhandle of Texas, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Trans-Pecos, the Edwards Plateau, even parts of the Concho Valley, especially by Sunday and Monday after several days of triple-digit temperatures and drying out. The Big Bend, Guadalupe Mountains, Davis Mountains, again the Trans-Pecos, out into the borderland far west Texas around El Paso. So yes, while the eastern third to the eastern half of Texas deals with at least localized minor to major flooding, the western third of Texas, we're going to have to be on the watch for increasing wildfire issues, especially as we get into early next week. High temperatures today. If there's a blessing here, it's at least, Houston, it's not going to be cold, but highs in the mid-80s. It's going to be humid, but it could be a lot worse, and unfortunately in a few days it is going to get worse. Highs upper 70s, middle 80s, northeastern half of the state. As we go into southwestern half of Texas, highs upper 80s to 90s this afternoon. Tomorrow the rain moves out, the clouds depart, summer hits. Highs mid-80s to low 90s, eastern half of Texas. Heat index values will make it feel closer to 100 degrees, in some spots 105. This is going to be a significant issue around Houston and in all areas out there where power may still be out by tomorrow. And again, some folks are probably going to be without power until sometime next week, where the worst of this wind damage has occurred around Houston and surrounding communities. Mid to upper 90s across the western half of Texas, the southern half of Texas, with triple digits in the Trans-Pecos, Edwards Plateau, the Big Bend, the Edwards Plateau, I said that already, whatever, down to the Rio Grande Plains, deep south Texas, looking like maybe about 105 in Del Rio. Sunday, bump it up another couple degrees, pretty much low to mid-90s. Eastern half of the state, heat index values at or a few degrees above 100. Western half of the state, down into the Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Valley, South Texas, upper 90s to triple digits. 96 in Amarillo, 98 in Lubbock, 106 in Pecos, 105 in Sanderson, 104 in Del Rio, 103 in Laredo, 99 in McAllen, 97 in El Paso, 97 in Alpine. That's hot, especially for the higher elevations. So again, we're going to be quite toasty by Sunday. Monday, same story. Upper 80s to low 90s, eastern half of the state. Heat index values of 100 to maybe 108 in spots. Western half of the state, mid to upper 90s to triple digits. And then as we get into Tuesday, this is when we start to see some change. Cool front pushes into the panhandle. That'll knock high temperatures back down. Rest of the state, ahead of that cool front, it's still going to be quite hot, humid. In fact, it may be a bit warmer than this, with compressional heating ahead of that boundary of cool front, bringing temperatures well up into the 90s and triple digits across the state of Texas. But again, it's looking mostly dry until perhaps Tuesday evening across northeast Texas, the Arklatex, and Texoma. That we'll keep an eye on things as we progress through the weekend. So again, our thoughts and prayers do go out to all those that were impacted by yesterday's severe thunderstorms. It certainly ended up being a very dangerous situation. We talked about it in yesterday morning's Texas Weather Roundup, that if storms were able to stay established in the or surface-based in the extreme instability, the wind shear, especially across parts of southeast Texas, the potential existed for nasty wind, big hail, and even a few tornadoes. I'll admit, didn't exactly think we'd be dealing with 120-mile-an-hour winds emulating a major hurricane, but unfortunately, when all the ingredients come together, that's what can happen. And unfortunately, in this case, it happened to be in one of the largest population centers in the state of Texas. We had a bunch of wind and hail out in the Permian Basin, West Texas, the Concho Valley. Midland, Odessa got hit pretty hard. We had winds over 80 miles an hour with wind-driven golf ball-size hail. And this doesn't even get into the flooding issues. We're going to have to deal with another flood wave moving down parts or several rivers across southeast Texas now from East Texas. And that'll continue into next week, even with dry weather. So, again, we'll have to keep an eye on some of these storms today, but the overall severe weather threat is much, much lower than yesterday. And we're not expecting widespread severe storms or widespread heavy rainfall. We may get a video later today from meteorologist Jason Cooley. We may not. The regular schedule applies for the weekend, so at this point, there may be some clips from us, but otherwise the next Texas Weather Roundup will be out bright and early Monday morning. But we'll probably throw stuff out over the weekend too. That's kind of what we do. We just can never get away. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all those who tuned into coverage yesterday. Help spread the word of the dangerous weather. This severe weather season can end now. But unfortunately, whenever it does, we'll probably just get thrust into the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, and who knows what Mother Nature's going to do with that. It's looking pretty active, so that's only a couple weeks away officially. All right. It is Friday. I'm technically supposed to give shout-outs, but given what happened yesterday, we're going to skip all that this morning. If we do a video this afternoon, I'll do it then. But for today, this morning, given what's happened yesterday, let's just say, have a good Friday. We'll chat with y'all later on. Have a good one. A better one, at least. God bless.